Hello friends, welcome to my channel Physics with Rakshi. In the present video, I will explain what is time loop hypothesis. You might have seen some science fiction movies, for instance, Age of Tomorrow, Groundhog, one Tamil movie in movies they have shown time loop in lucid way. So first of all, I will explain what is time loop, how it is created in physics, whether is there any physical law that supports time loop, whether it is real or virtual. I will discuss all of these topics in this lecture. So first of all, what is the definition of time loop? Let us see. So time loop occurs when certain period of time repeats itself over and over again. A person which is experiencing such kind of time loop may or may not aware of this repetition. In other words, if person inside the loop re-experience a time span which is repeating itself once or more than one time with some expectation to break that cycle of repetition. If the character or a person successfully break the cycle of repetition, he or she can successfully come out of that loop. So this is the basic concept of time loop. It requires objective laws as well as subjective involvement. Then and then you can understand the actual meaning of time loop. So in certain condition, for instance, the death of character or a person, or reaching at a certain point of time, such kind of time loop is keeping on resetting itself and it will start again. So person may, here advantage is that person may have memories of previous loop, so that using that memory that person can break the time loop. Here I have shown concept of light cone, which is used to explain various curves like space light, time light or light. It is also used to demonstrate temporal flow in space-time or trajectory of particle in space-time, which is also known as bald line. In this diagram I have shown one time loop in which in the horizontal direction I have shown light cone whose face shows future which is facing towards right direction. Here I have shown time loop in clockwise direction. So you might have observed here that starting point is A. If the person or observer or particle will go towards B, then C, then D and then A, it will complete one loop. Here we are talking about time in the considered space-time, that is why it is known as time loop. Here starting point and ending point is A and it creates one loop, that is A, B, C, D, A, and that is why it is known as time loop. We have considered this phase as future. So in other words, we can say that time loop hypothesis is a sort of time travel in which events forms a circular chain of causality. Here another thing is that if we consider valid physical laws, time loop hypothesis violates several laws of theory of relativity and it creates various paradoxes like temporal paradox such as grandfather paradox. It also violates principle of causality. I will explain here. Now let us consider exact procedure on what is happening inside the time loop. So after each loop, not complete event repeats itself, but repetition of certain pattern or circumstances. In case of time loop hypothesis, here time is cyclical, not linear. In physics, time is always linear. If we consider there are three arrows of time: thermodynamical arrow of time, cosmological arrow of time, and psychological arrow of time. If we consider thermodynamical arrow of time, it means we have to consider second law of thermodynamics. It means entropy either increases or remains constant. Our universe goes from low entropy to high entropy, and that is why it is known as thermodynamical arrow of time. In cosmological arrow of time, our universe is expanding with acceleration, and that is why it is known as cosmological arrow of time. It is always linear as it has certain direction from past to future. In psychological arrow of time, psychologically speaking, person feels time which goes from past to future depends on his or her memory. Now we will consider various phenomena or concepts that either support time loop hypothesis or oppose time loop hypothesis. First concept is déjà vu phrase or word of French language. Déjà vu means already seen. Experience or vision or knowledge of something before it happens, it is known as déjà vu. It is a subjective kind of experience. But if you want to understand time loop clearly, you have to consider subjective phenomena or subjective experience also. Then and then you can understand complete scenario of time loop hypothesis. So what happens if time repeats itself in loops? It is tangible that certain moments may leak through the crack of cycle and manifesting déjà vu for that person who is trapping inside the time loop. So if person is successfully recognize this pattern or circumstances, he is able to control that time or manipulate that time successfully. Then and then he or she can come out from that time loop by breaking that time loop. So déjà vu kind of experience help observer, character or person to break the time loop. So time loop forces us to rethink regarding reality, time and memory. So as I told, according to psychological arrow of time, there is a deep relationship between memory, time and reality. You have to consider déjà vu kind of experience to understand psychological arrow of time. Another thing is, now I will explain various physical laws which supports time loop hypothesis. Closed time-like curve in general theory of relativity supports time loop hypothesis. It is the exact solution of Einstein's field equation. For instance, Gödel metric and many other metric which explains time loop hypothesis. Here what happens, it allows observer or person or character which is inside the time loop to travel to the past in the extremely curved space-time. Closed time-like curve is the result or consequence of extremely curved space-time. I will explain in any other lecture while I will explain Gödel's metric. So what happens? It explains single consistent universe. Here we are talking about a time loop in which there is a one-one correspondence between cause and effect. It means according to cause you will have single effect. That is why it will create single consistent universe. For instance, because of same choices our universe have been passing through same cycle of contraction and expansion. If our universe would have made different choice, we will have different result right now. So thing is that closed time-like curve supports time loop hypothesis. It means here to avoid single consistent universe like phenomena or scenario, person who is trapping inside the time loop must be isolated or cannot be a part of that loop. Then and then such person can break time loop. Now let us consider quantum mechanical scenario. Earlier I have explained many world interpretation while explaining quantum measurement paradox, in which wave function never collapse, rather all possibility becomes reality. It means it will such kind of concept, that is many world interpretation, can resolve time loop hypothesis, in which each choice that is made by person becomes reality in parallel universe. Another concept is CPT invariance in particle physics. If you want to understand matter and antimatter, you have to consider CPT theorem. C means charge conjugation, P means parity inversion, time means time reversal. It means here charge is flipping from one charge to another charge. Here we have to consider flipping of polarity of particles. Here we have to consider reversal of time. Then and then we can understand matter and antimatter. For instance, electron and positron. You have to consider CPT theorem to understand time loop hypothesis. It also opposes time loop hypothesis. Another concept is second law of thermodynamics, which tells that entropy either increases or remains constant. So if, according to second law of thermodynamics, if person successfully breaks the time loop, it means he has successfully manipulated second law of thermodynamics, which is impossible as per current scenario. So at present I can say that there are several phenomena or concepts which either supports time loop hypothesis or oppose time loop hypothesis. Deja vu kind of subjective experience support time loop hypothesis. Also closed time like curve in certain conditions support time loop hypothesis. While many world interpretation, second law of thermodynamics, CPT invariance in certain conditions oppose time loop hypothesis. Here deja vu behaves as the evidence of time loop hypothesis or vice versa. In other words, time loop hypothesis behaves as evidence of deja vu kind of experience. So in this lecture I have explained what is time loop hypothesis, what are its consequences, how a person can break time loop hypothesis and come out from that loop, and which kind of concept are necessary to understand time loop hypothesis. First one is deja vu, second one is closed time like a curve, third one is quantum mechanical concept, that is many world interpretation, another is second law of thermodynamics, and last is CPT invariance. So here in this diagram I have shown various subjective or objective phenomena which are required to understand time loop hypothesis. Few will oppose time loop hypothesis while few supports time loop hypothesis. So thanks for listening and watching. If you have any question regarding time loop and time loop hypothesis, you can ask in the comment section. If you like my video regarding time loop, you please share and subscribe my YouTube channel, that is Physics with Rakshit. Thank you very much.